Good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Welcome to the Arcadia Round Table episode, whatever number this is. I am once again, just a little announcement. This podcast is going all multi-platform, AAA going forward. We're doubling down and putting this everywhere. You can listen on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you want, every platform. That's the way to go. It's been a week though. Chris, please tell the people how you've been. How you doing?
All good, thank you. Yeah. Started my exercise regime again. I mean, I tend to walk quite a bit, but I've started running and stuff. So getting back into that now. We're getting decent weather. So yeah, touching grass. probably take over doing some of that rather than gaming. I haven't gamed, so I'm not really going to have much to say on stuff that I've been playing. Slowly getting back to a bit of normality now. Mum's out of the woods, so looks like she's recovered well and defied many doctors. So all good, yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. That means that we'll have to focus more on the things that I've been playing. Everybody loves to hear about that, don't they? That's all good. No, glad you're well. Darge, what's been the best groups that you've been on this week? How high has it been? Tell us a little bit about your week so far.
Don't know. When I was working on one in Surrey today, that was nice. It's a nice area. But yeah, they're all shit. But yeah, no, I've it's just been another week. Nothing really exciting going on for me, mate. Done a bit of gaming. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But yeah, nothing. It probably was saying, and I've probably forgotten it. But yeah, all good overall. Glad to be back here. My camera is having a mare, so please let me know in the chat if it starts. This is all meant to be here though, but let me know if it all goes wrong. But yeah.
Right. If you're here right now and you're watching Darge's little window there, yeah. If it all goes wrong, don't tell him. He's very caught up on it. It's this like, just pretend it's fine, and then we'll get through the show, and he'll be a happy lad. Yeah. So let's talk about games then. So Chris, you've not had much of a chance to play anything, so we may as well start with Darge. Darge, last week you came at us with like 3, 4, 5 games you completed, and you were like, "Oh, I'm a real gamer. Look at all the games that I finished." You're still a real gamer. What's been going on?
Yeah. So after we spoke last week, you said about Hades, and obviously I know about how much you enjoy it. Hades 2's now, for some, a thing. A little bit of intrigue around it. I enjoyed it last time. I didn't enjoy the challenge, so to speak, but that's because, as we learned, I didn't understand what I was doing, and I was just button smashing. So I went back to Hades, but this time I actually used the mirror in the bedroom and started upping certain attributes of... I keep forgetting his name. Is it Atreus? Zagreus, that's it. Yeah, no, Atreus is one of them, though, right? I'm not too big on Greek stuff. But anyway... yeah, so I went back to that, and yeah, didn't mind that. That's on the Steam Deck, so that's a little one to burn off every now and again. I played Kona 2 Bloom. It's a new Game Pass edition.
Yeah, did you play the first one?
No.
I think they added the first one to Game Pass really recently, like in preparation for this one, a few weeks prior. I've got no idea what either of these games are.
I see the Xbox Game Pass account. Like, obviously, I think it was just like a standalone edition, so I don't think it was part of a slew that came. It was just like this one, you know. And I thought, oh, I wonder what this is like. And yeah, gave it a go, beat it. So it's like basically your first person. You know, you're like a detective investigator type, yeah, and you're in Quebec in Canada, big snowstorm, weird mist, and it's basically like you're going through doing bits. But, you know, there's some sort of semi-survival elements, i.e. your warmth, you know, your stamina and your health that you got to monitor as you go through. But yeah, I said to people in the Discord, like, obviously our Discord, I'll try and do a little review write-up on things that I enjoy. I didn't even bother doing one for this. I just said, like, it's a game for... Someone will enjoy this game, really enjoy this game, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be, like, within my right to go to them, no, that game's shit, you shouldn't enjoy that. Like, it's a game built for someone, not me. But yeah, got through it, got it done. And then the other game that I've nearly beat is Callisto Protocol. And that game, like, I just feel like that game coming out when Hellblade came out, Dead Space, a month after, and it was coming, I think just really hampered the game. I mean, I read up it had $165 million budget and some Hollywood actors and actresses in it. It's a shame, you know, because they said it didn't meet expectations regarding finance. I think it fell about $15 million short of budget and stuff like that. But the game itself, there's like, so with regards to the action, I think Dead Space does a really good job of the action where it's like constant round corners threats. Whereas with Callisto, you can have like intense-ish areas or more heavily populated areas, yeah. But then you could go on a
Mhm.
walk for a good section, you know, and the pacing there's a bit few and far between. But I tell you what, the visuals and the mocap and everything in that game is just jaw dropping. I mean, I've been banging loads of screenshots and stuff in the gameplay reservoir in our Discord, and I'm blown away by it. Like, I think it's really good. I think it's a shame. I think had they not got the Hollywood stars in and just had a basic, you know, just this game. You know, I know Crafton were publishing it, so they said at first it was in the PUBG universe and this, that, and they're trying to whip up the hype around it and all that. But it's a shame because, like, I think it's a really good game. It's really well told, as far as I'm concerned. Visually, it's brilliant. I think everyone should give it a bang. You know, I mean, I think Kev from Discord gifted me it, but I think you probably pick it up for next to nothing. And I think just on PC side of things, I can't mention on console because I haven't played it there. But on the PC side, it's worth it just to see the visuals of the game because it's impressive as well. So yeah, that's it, mate. I should have Callisto done tomorrow or Thursday, and then I don't know what it'll be. Hellblade, right? Or Hellblade's next week, isn't it? So
Yeah, it is next week. Yeah. So
yeah, I'll
so
try
let's
and
run through
squeeze
those then, because I like to run through them. We'll go reverse order. We'll carry on with Callisto Protocol. So I think it's on PlayStation Plus at some point, either Stellar or it
I
was.
think that's right. I think someone said.
Yeah, so people can have a go if they want. I heard, I've not played that one myself, but I heard a lot of people really struggle with the melee combat and the dodging system that it's got.
See, I don't mind. I see a lot of people. You got to remember, yeah, like Glenn Schofield was involved in this, and he's a creator of Dead Space. Naturally, you know, comparisons are going to be made. You know what I mean? But I don't mind the meleeing because I find sometimes, you know, like if you're in a Resident Evil or a Dead Space and you've got no ammo, you're pretty fucked. Like, let's have it right, unless you're maneuvering in a way or stealthing in a way. Whereas Callisto, you've got like that baton, and like you can stand and trade with them, and you can dodge and weave attacks without dying, and it still gives you a chance doing it. So, listen, it ain't for me to say anyone who dislikes that is wrong. I'm just saying to you, I don't think that like it's a fair criticism. I think a lot of comparisons are made against Dead Space. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Fair
So,
enough. Chris, did you have anything on Callisto that you wanted to ask, or have you touched it yourself at any point?
No, I mean, obviously I looked at reviews and videos and stuff at the time. Looks decent. Obviously, Dead Space connections and stuff, but yeah, I'll probably pick it up and give it a go based on what Darge has been saying.
yeah, I think like I looked at some reviews. I mean, obviously, as you know, I'm not overly bothered by review scores and stuff anymore. But one of the reviews that I see on a couple of them that I see was saying that it's too linear. The game's too linear, too narrow. You know, you can't get lost in the world. I don't. Maybe it's just me, but there was one part of the game where I couldn't work it out for about 45 minutes. It was like I was going around in circles. You know, it might have been a me missing the ladder or something, but it's not like it's just single corridors.
It'd be a life. I'm going to get up there to do the job.
Yeah, I know. You'd think I'd be all right with ladder, but no, it's like, yeah, it's not like the way the article made out, which is like you're blinkered and it's just straight, because it's not, because there's lefts and rights and open areas and things like that, you know. So I don't want to like be on here going, oh, this poor game, like, do you know what I mean? But I think it's a good game. I think it's something that if you're a fan of, like, we don't get a lot of survival horror games anyway, you know what I mean? So the fact that it was a new IP, it, you know, it pretty much is Dead Space to a degree, you know, sci-fi setting, similar, you know, even with the health status thing across the neck. But you know, they've done a really good job with the game, and I feel like it deserves a little bit more than what it gets. But
so far across all of the podcasts that I've done on this channel, and there's been quite a few between this and the Xbox Series One. And I always talk to people about the games that they've been playing, and that's probably the best sales pitch so far. Maybe Manor has pipped it. Chris's sales pitch might have been a little bit stronger. But you actually maybe want to play the Callisto Protocol.
You're lucky I don't want to get
It's a $5 on PC, gone to Pete as well.
$5?
I mean, yeah.
$5's nothing. Let's have it right these days, you know. It's worth a $5 of anyone's money to play that game.
I mean, it's a Vente specialist coffee at Starbucks, isn't it? So.
well, it is in today's day. I mean, I just paid £25 to have the tiny flecks of hair that I still had on my head shaved off. So when you weigh it up, I think you'll get more enjoyment out of your £5 worth of Callisto than me having a look at myself in the mirror. So I think it's definitely worth a pump. But sales pitch, it weren't. I just, like I say, I got caught up in it. I think there was something else at the start of the Callisto launch, because obviously Sony had the marketing, were well involved in it. We was like at the start of the gen-ish, you know what I mean? Like, and I think it was performing. Yeah, I think it was at the start of the gen, and look.
Like that BBC, it's like that BBC News thing, wasn't it? Where this kid walked in.
It is. But he's all right though. But it was the start of the gen, and I think it was performing really well on PlayStation, not so much on Xbox. And then all the Sony sent their people over to co-develop and all that. It got caught up in all that business. But I can't speak on how it launched at the start. But obviously, for what I'm playing now, it's a good game. It's good.
You've obviously been playing the definitive version on PC.
I don't know what Kev gifted me. I think it's just a standard game. So
no, I was just on about the PC version being the definitive version.
Oh yeah. Obviously,
come on.
I know it slipped over my head. My boys sidetracked me at the minute. So yeah.
So speaking of the it is shiny. The price of games and coffee and haircuts and all of that kind of stuff, right? Games are expensive. Ghost of Tsushima is expensive. I hear you might be giving away a copy later on in the show, Darge. Can you just confirm that for our people watching?
I might be, yes. I might be.
Well, you're supposed to confirm it, not like...
Nah, I am.
Anyone with any doubt, he is giving a copy.
I am. If you're in our Discord server, you're the only ones who need to know, because it only applies to you. And you all know I'm doing it, because I told you all about 5 times this week and the last.
We need to give him a round of applause as well, because he's giving away the £700 premium super definitive mega collection version. It's not.
Nah, but yeah, that's the May giveaway. We'll do that later at the end, though, yeah?
Yeah, we do.
You've got a new hat as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Show everyone the new hat that you're going to be putting.
Oh, yes. I couldn't find the hat, so I got my boy's toy Henry Hoover lid and vacuum and just flipped it the other way, and they're all in there. They're all in there. Except, they're all in there. Even your names are in there.
No, mine's not.
It is.
No.
There's no small print that says the podcast.
It's my giveaway. I'll fucking do what I want. But anyway, go on.
Ask me what I've been playing. Let's do that.
What have you been playing?
What have you been playing?
Wow. Funny you should ask. Actually, Chris, I was on the Meta Quest, like a couple of hours ago, and it said that you'd been on there. Was it lying to me?
It was lying. It's the Spooks is playing. It's been playing Five Nights at Freddy's. So not me,
enough.
but I will be picking it up. I mean, it's one of them. I seem to have lost it, so I may end up getting a Quest 3 now. I've been looking for the perfect excuse to get a second one. This is it now. It's been taken away from me.
It has been. That's disappointing, because I stuck it on and it's got a reasonable like friends list functionality. And when I went on there, it said you were on 23 minutes before me, and I was like, Chris has been in the VR world. I need to like invade and be in the same ones. I stuck mine on to have a go at House Sweeper Arena, House Sweeper VR it's called, which was surprisingly surprising. So House Sweeper is surprising. It's a VR game and it's a roguelike, which is not surprising, right? Because VR games are always like content short, as it were, or budget short, because they don't have a big audience. So there's certain expectations that you have going into a VR game, and it's not the biggest, but it looks decent enough. And I liked it more than I expected. When it flashed up and told me this is a roguelike, my heart sunk, because I don't want another roguelike. Even in VR, I'd rather that wasn't the structure of it. The only roguelike game that I enjoy is Hades, typically. But I had to go at it. And it does give you that power fantasy that I really wanted. Because as VR games go, it's really, really mobile. You can double jump and flip around the arena in a way that doesn't actually make me sick at all, which is pleasant. And it's instantly gifting me crazy powers that make me feel massively overpowered in the way that okay, it's gonna need to challenge me at some point, but I can like I've got a sword that I can just grab off of my hip, as you'd expect, a gun on my shoulder. I can charge the sword up to fire little blade things. I can summon big rocks from the ground and smash them into each other, or little fireballs. And if I slam these 2 fireballs into each other, I become a floating vortex of flame, just like going around the level, burning everything that comes near me. I pull my hands apart and explode. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, it's a roguelike, but it's damn good VR. I'm having a great time just being powerful.
What's it called?
Powerful, man.
Hellsweeper VR. And the premise of it is
Sounds
really
good.
like overly basic, because it says it's a roguelike, and you play a Hades game and it's like it's a roguelike, but it's got a story and it's got layers, and each time you go through it, it's just unpicking bits and bits of story and telling you everything. Like, I've done obviously my Pyre review this week as well. I'm a massive fan of Supergiant and the way that they tell stories. Hellsweeper, the story is like, go through and kill stuff, see if you can do it all. And that's the full extent of the story.
Sorry,
So it's like,
sorry,
oh, cool.
Asa,
Cool.
sorry to cut in. Did you say you've done a Pyre review?
I might have mentioned, so one of the other things that I've completed was Pyre. It's Supergiant's game that they did before Hades. Everybody loves Hades, like universally. Nobody has a dissenting word against it, right? Because Hades is brilliant. And Hades 2 drops into early access, and loads of people are playing it. Loads of people are trying to convince me that I need to play it, but I'm really, really stubborn, and I don't want to play it until it actually comes out properly in version 1. Even though the Steam page for it, Supergiant say like, oh, Hades 2's already got more content than the first game. It's got this, it's got that. Everyone that's playing it, we've got Luke Steele's in there telling me that it's brilliant as well. Like, everyone that's touched it says it's already really, really polished. Whiz through a billion frames per second on a Steam Deck if you want to. It's really thoroughly optimized and beautiful. And I believe them entirely. But it'll be even better at launch, and that's when I want to play it. So I decided to go back in time and play Pyre instead, which is not a roguelike. Has certain things in common in the way that it tells its story, which can't really get into without spoiling it too much. But I did a review on it. It is a spoiler-free review. It is quite thorough, and it is the first review that I've done under the Gaming Arcadia banner, with the way that it looks, the format, everything about the editing and all of that kind of stuff. So if you have time, check that out, because it is a very interesting game, if nothing else. Yeah. And I've been right back onto Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well. So once I'd got my review out of the way, I thought, right, I'm going to play the game that I was in the middle of. And I really enjoyed that as well, because I've not had the Chadley Ubisoft adventures inflicted upon me in this little play session. So I've just been doing the good bits. And that's such a weird game, Rebirth. I don't think either of you are. I know you didn't finish Remake yet, did you, Darge?
Do you know what? Everything else is like, I'm at that point with 7 Remake where I'm like, oh, I've got to go back to it. And then, oh, that looks good. Actually, I'll jump on that for a bit. And I do need to, I'm at chapter 14. I was enjoying it. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm like. I get sidetracked, you know. I'm like a moth, you know. So, yeah, I will go back. I've got to go, because obviously we'll talk on topics in a little while, but obviously given some of the news that's come out today, I'll be expecting Rebirth a lot sooner. You know, so hopefully soon enough. So it'll give me the kick up the arse just to clear the other one, you know?
Hold on. Yeah, so Rebirth is like, it has an audacious amount of side silly content just thrown in there all over the place. And mini games should sound really off-putting to me. I don't want an RPG to be full of mini games, but it pulls it off quite well. They're entertaining. It's got its own atmosphere and vibe that kind of fits with the nostalgia of what it used to be. So it's quite different to Remake in that sense, though. The structure of the game is very different to Remake.
Yeah, what, like the Yakuza games? I've never played any of them.
It's almost I've not.
It's full of little silly things and stuff, like, you know, but it all comes together.
And despite having quite like Remake is kind of serious in tone. It's not serious. It's got its silliness, but to blow it up into the sheer number of mini games you get in this one is I don't know. It works for me at the moment. I'm enjoying it, but obviously Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is PlayStation exclusive, which leads us nicely in to our first actual topic of the show, which is Square Enix. So Square Enix had their boring fiscal boringness results, but with it came some boring figures, right? They're making a little bit of money. They're not making as much money as they want. Nobody is making as much money as they want across the industry. So they are shifting strategy a little bit. And the big takeaway from it is they already alluded to this when their new CEO took over tail end of last year and said that we want to start working with the other platforms more, being bigger and broader in that regard. But they have now come out and told all of their shareholders and important people that they're not allowed to lie to, that their plan going forwards is to aggressively pursue only big budget AAA games rather than the full array of games that they were doing before, and to aggressively pursue multi-platform releases across. And they name dropped all of the platforms they wanted to, or platform holders. They didn't say which Nintendo platform, but they name dropped PlayStation, PC, Nintendo, and even little old Xbox as recipients for their big AAA games going forwards. Chris, you excited? What does it mean for us?
I hope all the other platforms just fucked them off. No, listen. It just means that someone at some point made a terrible decision to sign up to this kind of exclusive deal that has nearly destroyed the business. Obviously, people into Square games are going to experience them where they play. So yeah, for people into Final Fantasy and stuff, maybe, but I don't think their games are console shifters anymore. I think they used to be. But I don't think anything's really shifting consoles anymore, as we'll get into it furthermore within the show. But it's good. I mean, we're always advocates of being able to play stuff kind of where you want to play it, not the kind of Xbox come by our way or whatever. Obviously, they've got multiple platforms that they can target, as we know, across PC and various Xbox series, and maybe there's a handheld and all this stuff. But yeah, I think people are realising that the days, ignore Nintendo, but the home console living room days of 180, 200 million consoles out there, then you can start calling the shots, are really kind of hurting Sony at the minute in terms of their kind of pure kind of oomph and ability to kind of buy things within the market. And I think essentially what's happened is the exclusive deals kind of come to an end, hasn't it? Or it's almost at an end, and they've gone, yeah, we need to, as you said, pursue other platforms aggressively, work on those AAA titles, try and get the big sales in, and allow everyone else to play their products. I think from my experience, I mean, a lot of people over the past X number of years have been shouting about why don't Square mention other platforms and things like that. In my experience, any of those kind of Sony-based exclusive contracts and stuff will have many, many clauses in, which doesn't allow them to talk about different platforms and things like that. So they're not just an organisation which is blindly wandering through the world and stuff like that and just being blasé. They will have real contractual clauses that they can't even remotely mention it, or regardless of whether some social media manager or community manager wants to go, actually, we do hear you, but this is happening. But yeah, it can only be good for those people who haven't got a Sony console or want to play it elsewhere.
Yeah, and so the ones that they had the breakdown of them, they were obviously making a lot of smaller games before, and Sony benefited from the big name games in terms of Final Fantasy, obviously being the main one, 7 and 16 being exclusive. But Nintendo also had even more exclusives than anybody else in terms of Square Enix's game, because they got a lot of the smaller ones that it looks like are going to completely cease to be anymore, because Square Enix are not interested in small games, which is kind of interesting, because I heard every gaming podcaster in the universe look at the industry troubles and come to the conclusion that all of these publishers need to make more smaller games. And all of these publishers at the exec level have looked at it and said the opposite and said, well, we need to really double down on only big games and mitigating risk. So never listen to any podcasters, including us, because, podcasters. Yeah, that was quite interesting. But typically, they're too big to limit themselves to an audience, so it's an obvious move to go multi-platform. It's funny because when I was Yeah, when I was like a teen in the Saturn days, and the Sega Saturn had loads of exclusive games despite a tiny audience, but it also had like regionally exclusive games. I remember the import scene. You could go on, you could look at games that came out and go, oh, what the fuck's Wackenroder? I've never heard of it. I'm going to buy that. It's Japan only. There's no translation. But in those days, like, the market was very different and budgets were very different, and you could niche down and really make a game for a small audience and still somehow turn a profit. For Square Enix, they're at the opposite end of the scale of that. And like, times progress, things have moved forwards. You can look at something like Stellar Blade and you can justify some platform exclusivity. A little bit of money makes a big difference, and they don't have the scale and like pipeline of development to necessarily do everything all at once. But Square Enix have to be capable of delivering on that front to maintain their budgets. Darge.
Yeah, mate.
What do you reckon? Are they specifically on the so the platform thing is kind of obvious, right? Everyone wants their games everywhere because of course, but the decision to double down on big games instead of making lots of small ones, do you think that's like that's going to pay off for them, or is that, would you do the opposite?
I don't know. Like you never know. Like we seeing now, like the console space is changing. You know what I mean? Like everything's changing. Back in the day, like Chris said, you know, you would have done exclusivity deals. Sony have even come out themselves and said, like, these sort of things, the old practices that we were used to do are not bearing the fruit that it used to. Obviously, they need to go into other directions, you know, which obviously they will do soon enough. But with regards to Square, they're bearing the brunt of that, you know, because Sony are coming out and saying, you know, these exclusives ain't really doing bits for us. Yeah. So the knock-on effect is Square, because now they're going, well, we weren't really selling enough that we estimated that we'd make. So with regards to the bigger games, maybe it's a rolling of the dice. Maybe they're thinking, well, maybe we concentrate more on these big polished things to try and recoup, try and get back to the glory days of ridiculous of millions of sales everywhere, putting the games everywhere. Dangerous game. Like, I still think the little niche, you know, smaller experiences still have a place, you know. But Square are going to do what they want to do, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, this decision, them coming out, I mean, it's just a fucking, you know, it's just a blatant obvious, you know. You know, if you're limiting your install base, how can you have any internal projections, like, you know, expectations, you know?
Well,
Well, I know it's all.
yeah.
I'm saying I get
Well, it
it.
was,
I get.
yeah.
Go
Yeah.
on, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, like in the older days when they were doing these deals and stuff like that, they would have been concentrate on like PS4 user base and stuff like that, and just made assumptions like Sony did and other people did that PS5 is going to come out and it's going to do the same. But obviously, as we'll touch on later on, the performance of that console has been projected lower than it originally was, and that's going to have an impact. And ultimately, like Asa was saying, like the shareholders will speak, because you'll go into the shareholder meeting and they'll just be, you know, they'll just be sat there going, "What the fuck are we playing at?"
Yeah.
So why we, as you just said, why we limited to, you know, why we limited to, you know, 55 million consoles or something like that when we could be hitting 80, 90 plus with like the PC market and stuff and Nintendo.
Let's see, like, obviously we've spoken on it, we've seen a lot of changes just even within the last 12 months, you know what I mean? Everything's sort of changing, right? So if the platform holders are changing their methods, then that's going to trickle down to the third-party developers, you know what I mean? And they're going to have to change their methods. Do you get me? So this is all a knock-on effect. Obviously, you're seeing about Square as well, that they're going to have to come out announcing layoffs in Europe and the US and stuff like that in the wake of this stuff. So again, layoffs are happening. You know what I mean? Everything is trickling down, and there's going to be a complete rejig. Obviously, Square are coming out and saying, we're going to focus more on. So, you know, like you've had like EA going like, oh, we're going to cancel the Mandalorian game and we're going to concentrate on our own IP. Yeah, that's what EA have said. And obviously, Square have come out and said they're going for bigger AAA experiences. I think Xbox have said about like they want some smaller type games experiences as well. Everyone's reconfiguring, you know what I mean? But Square are obviously doubling down in the big budget AAA space. You know, good luck to them. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. By the start of the next gen, I mean, I don't know what to predict. You know, everything's pretty much going to be everywhere, I reckon, and you just go where you want.
So the Square Enix numbers. Go on, Chris.
No, go for it. I was just going to say. I was literally just going to say, yeah, they'll recoup money in different ways with subscriptions or PS Plus or live services or whatever those things are. But yeah, sorry, mate, crack on.
No, so just for clarity and the bit that I find funniest about the Square Enix numbers, Square Enix's financials, first of all, they divide them by, they call them HD, SD, and something else, as in like high definition and standard definition, but they're referring to like big living room gaming versus mobile gaming and stuff like that. And when they go through their breakdown, there'll be various people interpreting the numbers in ways that they want to for whatever reason. But essentially, the losses that they had, the places where revenue dropped were Final Fantasy 14, so their MMO subscriptions, their mobile games, the browser games, all of that kind of stuff all dropped. And the bit that throws some people is their HD games, their big games, kind of went up in revenue over the year prior. But when you consider the games that they had in that space, they had what should have been freaking huge hits for them. So even though their revenue number went up and could be considered a positive, realistically, it was way lower than they want for having those kind of heavy hitting Final Fantasy games releasing all over the place. But the thing that really made me laugh is they talked about these games specifically, like how close they came to their expectations and all the rest of it. It was Bloomberg that reported it. So when I say specifically, they didn't give the numbers, but they said like Final Fantasy 16 launched where they expected but tailed off quicker than they thought it would. They think that one will recover. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth was just short. And they said that Foam Stars fell below expectations. Foam Stars was released on one platform and it was included in a free subscription. How the fuck did you estimate any sales?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Expectations zero. You can't fall below it. Come on.
Has it got microtransactions though?
I probably has some, but it was sales.
It's crazy.
Can't.
So it probably would have been similar to Destruction All Stars, wasn't it? It was like get it into a subscription service and start doing those microtransactions.
It'll have the Helldivers effect.
Yeah, and the thing is they don't always work. Like I've seen so many studios try and take that kind of like free to play mobile model, and I'm not saying like those games are free to play, but as I was saying, you're sticking in a subscription service and put it free to play because you're guaranteeing your audience. But a lot of studios try and take that mobile model and put it to like a home console and stuff, and it just doesn't translate. It doesn't translate because you've got those moment-to-moment gameplay where someone's on a train or a bus or just getting that slight hook. And it's really easy to I mean, I'm talking from an Apple device, but it's the same on Android. It's really easy to just go, do you know what, I'll buy that, double click, and you've spent 10 quid or whatever. So it just doesn't translate. But as you said, Ethan, if you're not even projecting kind of like your in-app purchases or your upsell on a subscription service when you've got like a guaranteed audience and stuff, something's going wrong. But to be fair, I think there's many people out there who've kind of gone like fuck you, Square, for the way they've like acted and limited themselves to one platform. Because we hear quite a lot. Obviously, we talk about Twitter and social media being a bit of an echo chamber, but obviously I've muted all the noise and I kind of really trust and like the people that I follow and interact with. And you do see a lot of people, even in our Discord, just kind of saying, Square like a done and stuff like that, because it's that you start to do those kind of working practices and stuff. You can really like piss people off. And I'm not talking about like the fanboys going, I can't play it on my console and stuff, but you've got genuine people with disposable income and stuff going, why have I got to go out and buy a 500 quid console, even if it was the other way around and it was like an Xbox thing, when I've got a £4,000 PC. No, not me.
No, but you are right. You are right. That is like, it's moody, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like when you get Final Fantasy, but again, like it's a testament to Sony anyway in that regard, because like I say, whenever Sony market anything, even like a third-party exclusive, you would be of the belief if you went who makes Final, or not necessarily who makes Final Fantasy, but you go Final Fantasy, but everyone would go PlayStation. You know what I mean? And they would think that that's a PlayStation game, and that's fine. But then when Square decide to open their legs up to the rest of the market and go, yeah, we're here now. You know what I mean? People might go, well, no. Fuck you. Do you know what I mean? It's weird because I was at that XO19 event in London, and Square, ain't that where they announced the partnership with Square there? And it's like, oh, Square, you know, like they had I can't remember your man's name, but they had someone there, and Phil was on the gantry with him, and they were saying about Square Enix, nice mug that. Square Enix, you know, we're going to start doing more partnership wise. I mean, what fruit has that bird? Outriders.
To be fair, like, so before that though, I can't remember when it was, but obviously Xbox managed to get Final Fantasy 13 in the first place, and that was that set some little shockwaves across Final Fantasy fans and all the rest of it. To this day, you'll hear people say that it was ruined by that deal taking place. But they did at some point put every Final Fantasy game onto Game Pass at once, right? Like they had that. Square Enix did dip a toe in and see how Final Fantasy is going to perform in that ecosystem, and at some point they decided, post having those numbers, that it's not worth putting them over there. So I've got some sympathy,
right?
but
yeah, but then obviously when you see them having when you see their like the news that spoke today, and they're like, yeah, no, we won't bother sticking it over there. Oh, hang on a minute, we didn't meet our targets. Go, well, maybe you should start thinking twice. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if I'm making a product, you know, or anything like that, I want the world to know about it. You know what I mean? And I want everyone to have access to it. Once you start locking it away from other people, you can't start complaining about how it does. You know what I mean? So, oh well, apparently they've learned their lesson, right? So we can look forward to the future with Square Enix, even though they sold all their Western studios, didn't they, to Embracer?
Oh,
is that right?
Yeah. Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, and the other one as well. Yeah, they did. They did. Still, I like Octopath outside of Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. I like Octopath, and I think that's in the AA range that they'll probably not bother with anymore, which is a bit of a shame for me. I actually do like the much as when everyone was saying like the whole industry is going to do smaller games, I was always saying like the situations that led them to stop making smaller games are all still in play and amplified now over where they were. So I'm not sure it is that simple a decision. But
Octopath, they don't like on Game Pass, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I knew a lot of people played it. Yeah.
But it went exclusive to Switch, right? Didn't it? The sequel.
It started off on Switch and PC. Then a year later, they put the game on Game Pass. But then the sequel went PlayStation, Switch, and PC. So weird handling of that one in general. Yeah.
Hey, so the masses have spoken, and you need to send me a GameOn Arcadia mug. People are very disappointed that I'm using a Mario one.
Well, I quite like the Mario one, but yes, we can sort that out as well.
I might get a GameOn Arcadia swimming cap.
GameOn Arcadia Scout's wig. I'll send you.
All right, sorry, go on, so I'll phone you off.
No, it's all good. You don't need to throw me off. It's your podcast as well, Darge. What do you want to talk about?
I was going to say before, it's like the whole like exclusive stuff, isn't it? It's like Nike, or Nike, depending on how you say it. I'm a Scout, so I say Nike. Yeah, they'll what you call it? It's like them selling trainers, but only available in like Liverpool or something. It's bit counterintuitive. But like we said, a lot of these organisations are learning now. They know for a fact there isn't a big kind of sweeping, like console audience out there, and people are getting a bit more frugal in where they play. I think the likes of like handheld gaming and stuff like that with the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and the others have kind of really kind of switched things up a bit, because you've then even stuff like iPhone gaming and stuff. Digital Foundry did like a really interesting thing the other day where it was basically like Switch versus iPhone gaming. So they obviously compared like a lot of the same games, Wreckfest and various other things. And Apple gaming is actually holding its own. If you get like a decent controller attachment and stuff like that, you've got even some better experiences in terms of holding 60 frames a second and things like that. So I think there are a lot more ways to like consume gaming now. And as I say, that's not me doing the kind of Xbox statement. It's doing the general the general gaming industry.
Everyone's saying it, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. You can just and in some ways, Xbox were a little bit ahead of the time, or prediction where they were saying this is what we want to consume elsewhere. But on the flip side, it's probably because they knew this kind of generation and the last generation wasn't as strong as the 360, where they smashed it in certain territories and stuff like that. So it's just a different kettle of fish out there. The other interesting thing, which like Eurogamer and Digital Foundry have just done, which I'll share in the Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord, join, and we always share good stuff in there. Is they're actually talking about, is Steam Sony's biggest competitor now, which is like a really interesting take. So it's worthwhile looking at that, and it certainly will be their biggest competitor if Xbox do put it on a console or a hybrid type console, whatever the next console or whatever they're trying to do. But yeah, it's really interesting. So, will Sony? There was rumors of like PlayStation doing their own store and stuff like that. So, will stuff go off Steam? Will that cause like outrage for like the PC players who are used to being able to kind of, with the exception of a couple of things, be able to buy stuff on their store of choice and stuff? So, it'll be interesting to just see what happens in the coming like 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah,
That's one of those things.
I think it's I was just going to say quickly, like, I just think it's an exciting time. You know, the last few generations that we've gone through, we know kind of how it's going to go. Third-party deals, exclusive content, this, that, and the other. Xbox have got Game Pass as a service now, so that's another new angle that they're bringing onto it, and they're also migrating over to PC. You're seeing the PC market grow. Like, the industry's changing. Consoles. They're coming out now and saying that curve, that uptake of consoles is flattening out now. So these the platform holders are thinking, "Fuck me, like, what are we going to do? Like, what should we do?" Yeah, and obviously we know certain bits and pieces, like with Sony. Xbox already had that foresight and were doing it and got absolutely coated for it when they did it. You know what I mean? But writing's on the wall now. Everyone's following suit, so to speak, to a degree. So I'm just excited to see how it all plays out. But go on, Asa. Sorry, mate.
I can't remember what I was going to say at all, actually.
Sorry, mate.
The PlayStation. No, it's all right. The PlayStation launcher thing, like, I've seen people already protesting against that before it even exists because they love Steam so much. And I think if Sony have paid any attention to the PC gaming space at all for the last decade, they'll know that they can't sell their games outside of Steam. Like, you have to stay on Steam. Everybody has learned that lesson the hard way. Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Activision, all of them have learned that the hard way. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a launcher as well. So hopefully, like, more competition is good in all regards. So hopefully they'll do that because Steam are very overly powerful in that space at the moment. Fortunately, they seem to be broadly nice with it. Some developers might disagree, but from an audience consumer perspective, broadly nice with it.
They do tend to be fair. They tend to be fair with like refunds and stuff like that. And obviously, if it's like too far down the line, then you run the risk of taking away like earnings from a small dev and stuff like that. But yeah, ultimately, from a consumer standpoint, they seem to be really fair when you contact customer service and stuff. To be fair, I was in hospital for a bit. Like Darge knows this. I was in hospital. I'd kind of pre-registered for like the Steam Deck, and I basically missed my order point. We were at that time where they said you've got like 48 hours or whatever to like check out and get your Steam Deck and stuff. I missed it because I was in hospital. And I, off the off chance, I got in touch with customer service and said, "Look, really sorry, missed my slot. Here's the kind of code I was given. I was in hospital." And they came back within like an hour and went, "Here's the link, order one. I'm really sorry to hear what happened and stuff." And it's that they had every right to go like the T's and C's and the T's and C's. We're sorry, but you missed it. But they didn't. I remember telling Darge about it. They were like really helpful. Checked out straight away and I got it in like 2 days or whatever. So they were brilliant in terms of my experience.
Yeah, and another thing on the consumer side that hasn't like obviously been brought up there is the recent one with Helldivers 2. You know what I mean? Like Sony changing their approach with the game. All right, regardless, it was there as an option, but then making it mandatory means that they've moved the goalpost, so to speak. And Steam were ready to support their customers by issuing refunds, And then that's why Sony had a momentary decision turn, and then I think that's changed again. But whatever the situation, I noticed how they announced today that it hit 12 million sales, the game, and I wondered how many of those were refunded because like it's probably before the refunds occurred. You know, it's a shame, but it's another good thing with Steam, though. You know, they are very customer friendly. You know, so yeah, it's good.
So,
I mean, the one thing, sorry, I said just before, the one thing I was reading before is like Sony seems to have doubled down on this like Ghost of Tsushima, taking it away from stores and that. But I think we touched upon it on one of our episodes either last week or the week before. They are trying to bring in like the PSN trophy system and stuff, so I kind of get that, and it's not like the game's been released and then they've taken it away. They've actually gone, look, this is going to be the first PC game with the trophy system. It's going to have our overlay. So I understand that you would need to be in a territory where like PSN is. The question is, for the PC markets that where they want to make maximize profitability and stuff, should they have made that optional for those markets or something? But that's a debate for another time.
They come out today though. That's all I'm going to say. So they come out themselves today and said like the metric they look at now is active users.
No, they didn't. Let's do that later.
You're jumping ahead, lads.
Go on.
I can't remember.
No, I was just like, I thought I'm a podcast presenter too. Stay in your lane.
He is. But we'll get there later. We'll get on that one because that is a thing to talk about. The Ghost of Tsushima not being in these regions. The other thing to bear in mind with Sony is, I said last week, they need to look at what every other publisher is doing and how they're managing to distribute online services to other countries where they clearly don't have infrastructure either. So Sony should be able to look over their shoulder, see what people are doing and copy it, but they're a massive corporation and these things take time. So even if they're doing that and they're in the process of doing that, in the interim, not selling in those regions just makes sense. So I don't massively like throw stones at them because obviously they're hurting themselves more than they're hurting us, especially us in the UK. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll come good on that, but time is going to tell. The last thing that I want to say on Square Enix as a positive for them, this new chap that's in charge, the CEO that took over tail end of last year. The guy before him went into these meetings and said, we're going all in on NFTs. It's going to be brilliant. So, like, the multi-platform future, fine, good. They're not being those guys anymore. It's not like a crypto desperate shooting themselves in the foot constantly kind of organization. So maybe there's good things ahead for Square Enix. Let's do, because fiscal results and sales point data and stuff does my head in. Let's talk about games. We're going to talk about one that I hate though. It's not even out yet and I already hate it. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Chris, tell me all about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, I hate it because it sounds so stealthy. The Assassin's Creed series, I've never played any of them aside from the VR ones because it started as a stealth series. My understanding from the outside is that they kind of fixed that and made it less horrible. A lot of people love stealth, right? So I'm aware that that I'm just like, that's my own preference against it. But I've avoided the Assassin's Creed series. Could be that some of the more recent games I would absolutely love if I played them, but it's hard to pick up a series midway through. But it's called Shadows. It's got to be stealthy, right? Are you an Assassin's Creed player, Chris? What do you make of Shadows?
I do like Assassin's Creed. I like obviously the early ones and Black Flag and stuff. I enjoyed Valhalla, but I think we've touched upon this before. It just got too big and unwieldy, and I just got bored of it. But it did fall foul to the Ubisoft, everything on a map. Even though I absolutely smashed through like Far Cry and stuff like that, and that has everything on a map. But it just seemed a lot more enjoyable. And I think obviously the hopping in and out of like co-op and stuff was really good in the Far Cry series. But now it's set in Japan. If it could be like a spiritual successor to like Tenchu or something like that, I'll be pleased. Obviously anything with kind of ninjas, I've just come through watching Shogun, finished the Shogun a few weeks back or whatever, so I'm all over it. And obviously I have a Ubisoft Plus subscription, so I'll get to play it, and if it's crap I can delete it like I did with Valhalla. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about. I think as the series has gone on, the Assassin's Creed games have got more and more polished. But yeah, if they kind of tone the world down a little bit in size or scope, and there's like really irritating part in Valhalla where you would just go kind of like venturing and exploring and stuff and going off like not even doing side quests, just going off on one, and then those bloody Knight Templar fucking fellas would just like appear, and you'd be like, why are you here? I'm in the middle of nowhere, so there's no reason for you to be here and stuff. So that'd do my head in. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what it's like. But obviously, I'm going to be all over Ghost of Tsushima first, so it'll have to go some to beat that, given people who are trusting that who finished it on PlayStation. But yeah, I'm all about the historic Japan, if it can be like a spiritual successor to, as I say, Tenchu or something.
It is.
I'm a bit like you. Stealth stuff can, if it's like all stealth, gets a bit irritating. And I must admit, like even when I play like a Call of Duty or something, and you get like a stealth mission in, I just think I'd love to just skip this and just crack on with like action and stuff. So it depends on how they handle it. But I suppose any of the Assassin's Creed are quite stealthy if you want to play it that way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
So for me, from not being like a part of the Assassin's Creed fan base, I know that fans have been asking for it to be set in Japan. For as long as Forza Horizon fans have been asking for it to be set in Japan, everyone wants this thing to happen. Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima came out and like ticked the box for a lot of people for a while. This one's going to come out somewhere between the PC release of Ghost of Tsushima and the inevitable release of Ghost of Tsushima 2. So it's inevitably going to be compared in some ways, but we don't care about that. Darge, tell me about Assassin's Creed. Tell me about Assassin's Creed Shadow and the whole series, where you are with it.
I don't mind Assassin's Creed. I just think they are very big, very, very big, and I don't. Odyssey was the one that I put the most time in. I did quite a lot, but to be fair, you know, Greek mythology and all that gear, you know, Sparta and all that. I kind of enjoyed that, you know. And Valhalla, maybe it's because I live in the UK, but it was just such a fucking shit setting for me. And I just didn't like, I put some time into it because obviously with the Series X, when it launched, I had the game and was enjoying it, but very quickly, I didn't enjoy it. With regards to this one, I think I've spoken on it before. I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, Assassin's Creed and you know samurai settings and that has been a long requested thing for them. But I just feel like you know with some of the games that we've had now, you know, like I know they're different game types, but like this, you know, ancient, you know, Japanese culture and stuff like that has been tapped into quite a bit. You know, hopefully Ubisoft do nail it. You know what I mean? And give me a reason to get into it. But you know, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed guy. It's not like I'm going to be fucking sitting here in my Assassin's Creed pajamas waiting for the reveal event. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good game for the fan base, for the people.
I'm going to wear a full ninja suit on the reveal.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to have one of those little stealth blades here. But yeah. I'm sure it'll be good and it'll do well like it always does. I mean, it's you know whether you like it or not, you can't deny the fact that it is a strong franchise for Ubisoft. You know what I mean? It does bits for them. Yeah, I think it'd be good. I'm just looking, you know.
Yeah.
Go on.
You're right. I was going to say you're right. Like certain games in the series, so like Origins, I put like hundreds and hundreds of hours into that, but I really enjoyed like the Egyptian setting and the kind of weird, I mean, I say spoilers, but there was like weird kind of like futuristic like alien stuff happening and different weapons and stuff and suits in it, which is really interesting. I mean, the game's like 5, however years old. You can do one. It's like that. Oh, spoilers with Mario versus Kong. But yeah, so they do have like certain versions in the series, which are awesome. And obviously Valhalla, as I said, I played it, got a bit bored of it. So I'm kind of hoping missed the last one. There was one in between, wasn't there? Mirage, yeah. Didn't even like pick that up or touch it. So I'm hoping this is kind of like my Origins version. So it was almost like missing a COD when it's done by Treyarch and jumping on the Infinity War version.
If you do have that affinity with the series, though, you should try the VR one. It's not like a brilliant game, but in terms of just, I don't know, fan service, it's really good for that. Just having that hand blade, the way that you just flick it out your wrist and stab people in the head, it's kind of fun.
It's like a lot of parkour, though. That's going to make me feel sick.
Yeah, it's it does have some, but it's quite a recent game, so they've got the hang of not making it too.
Okay.
Like, it's got all of the tricks that you'll need
I'll try it on your recommendation, Asa.
I won't.
Recommendation's a bit strong. It's a bit strong. Because I only played the first couple of levels, and it's not for me. No backtrack. If you're a fan of Assassin's Creed and you want to be Ezio for a while and just get into that kind of like fan service, then it's good for that. It doesn't hold up as a game in itself, really, because the combat's a bit.
What if I can't distinguish between virtual reality and reality, and then it just like blades someone on a bus and just go, oh no?
They'll be okay because you don't actually have the blade, so you'll just be like pouring them like a cat.
Just patting someone. Like, what are you doing?
You also get in trouble, so I'm not saying you should do that on the bus, but
I'll basically sort of play Assassin's Creed Simulator without the killing at work. So yeah, I'll be all right with that VR. I don't know if anyone knows, but I'm a roofer, so I climb about. But
she'll just leap of faith off the roof, and there'll just be no hay baler.
I've done it before on the end of a ridge, done like that perched position before he does a swan dive into the pile of hay. You know what I mean? I am an assassin. But anyway,
swan dive into a skip full of nails and glass.
Swan dive onto the roof of the van. But anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, just quickly as well, Asa, I know when you said about the stealthiness of Assassin's Creed, I'm not the most stealthy bloke. I mean, like Odyssey specifically, you can just go and engage and just start swinging it out with people. You can go about it stealthily. You can go around the rooftops and pick people off one by one, which they kind of recommend that you do. But you can go in there and have a tear up if you want.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not sitting here sweating like I cannot wait. Like, do you know what I mean? But I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes out.
I'm not, but I've got the Ubisoft Plus, so I might download it and have a little look when it comes out. While we're on though, Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, might be a nice time to do your little competition draw and talk about in the run up to it, because Ghost of Tsushima is obviously not an Assassin's Creed game literally, but it got referred to as that an awful lot as an Assassin's Creed game in Japan. You're going to do a giveaway for it on PC or PlayStation. We'll do that draw in a second, but let's talk about the game first, because it also comes out on PC in like a day or two. And Chris, you're excited about that one, aren't you?
I am excited. I'm going to pull the trigger tomorrow, but I've been hovering over like the super edition as well. So like, but obviously I look at it and think, can I justify like 80 quid?
Have you played it before?
Well, no, I've just obviously I've watched a lot of it. It's been recommended by other people who've played through it on PlayStation. It's my type of game. Quite like the idea of playing it on my ultra-wide monitor. I think it'll look spectacular. Right. Obviously, you have the kind of black and white modes and stuff, don't you, as well? Like the original noir modes and stuff. So, I mean, support the devs in it. So, unless I win. Unless I win, then Darge will support the devs for me.
I'll support everyone.
If I do win, I'll buy a version for someone else. So.
And Darge, you're obviously you're doing the competition for it. Are you planning to play it yourself as well?
Yeah, I am, but I think nah, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? But I'm just that guy. You know, I like to bring joy to people. You know. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like I say, when you say there about anyone played it before, I haven't done, but a lot of the trusted people in the community, the rational people in the community, all enjoyed it. You know, all really enjoyed the game. Didn't really have too many negatives to say about the game. You know what I mean? So,
I've got some. Cool.
Well, yeah, but that's you. But I'm saying the others, the other people aside from yourself. But yeah, solid game from what I see. So yeah, I'll definitely check it out. 100%. It better have a good photo mode as well.
Oh, it has the best photo mode. The current version has, for me and my specific, very niche purposes, it has a photo mode where you can use it for video. You can say I want it to, like, all the animations to keep playing. I can increase the wind speed, set the time of day, all of that kind of stuff. So not as good as the photo mode that Hellblade has been demoing today.
Mate.
Yeah. But you know that weird video I did, the weird one, you know, the weird one.
Yeah.
That has lots of backgrounds that I took from Ghost of Tsushima because you could record it as video.
Not a weird video though, is it?
It is a weird video. It's a very weird video.
Not weird. Right, anyway, go on.
Calm yourself, Darge.
No, it's just why are you saying it's weird? This is content.
Because it is content, and it took freaking ages to make. For those that have never seen it, it's on the channel. But it is weird. Weird doesn't mean bad, Darge. I'm weird, and I think it's an endearing quality. I did it. It's a video that's on the channel still. It took me freaking ages to make. It's over a year old now. It's called The Last Uncharted Horizon, and it's a little spoof of the PlayStation formula and things, but it's very, very heavily edited and all the rest of it. It's there if you want to watch it. It's quite funny.
Right, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but that's that. So, Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't finish it. So, of the three of us, I'm the only one that did play it, and I know that everyone loves this game, but it's too much game for me, which is why I don't think I can play an Assassin's Creed game. I played it twice. The first time through, I fell right off of it. I wasn't enjoying it at all because of the amount of like dog water side content that it has. It has some freaking awful side content, and people can argue if they want, but they're wrong. It's like here's a fox, you have to follow it onto a hillside. Here's some bamboo, you have to cut it. Now go to all of these other places on the map and cut the bamboo. And I was like, no, I don't want to. So I stopped, and then I played it a second time where I decided, like, you know, mate, be a grown up, show some resolve, and just do the content that I want to do. So I said, right, I'm going to do the main story and all of the like clearly storied side quests, but none of the filler bullshit. And I was having a much better time, and I got about 50 hours in. I was like, oh, I must be nearing the end now. This is good. And then it said chapter 2, and I died inside and stopped playing it. It can be a long game if you are thorough with it, and a long game if you're not that thorough with it. So I was enjoying it though. It is beautiful, and it is mostly entertaining when it's not forcing you into stealth. So I might actually pick it up again and have another try, see if I can get through it on the PC version at some point in time. But I'm not in a massive hurry.
You want to beat that Death Stranding first, though, mate, don't you?
Oh,
get the good one. Get the good one out of the way. That's got some stealth in it. You'll like that.
Do you know, I reckon I'll probably like Ghost of Tsushima more than Death Stranding, but I will try Death Stranding again, because you did gift it to me, so I have to.
To be fair, I need to jump on Death Stranding again.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Time to play games. I need to jump on Manalord. Everything else can fuck off. I want to play Manalord.
There you go.
Fair enough.
You've been told.
I've told myself.
All right, should we do this then? Should we do this draw? Get
Henry out, lads.
I can tell people are thirsty. Right, so we got our little upside down Emery Hoover here with the. I need to get one of them velvet bags with the marble balls. You know, that'd be much more. I'll give it a jiggle.
Balls like the FA Cup.
I'll make. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm going to make creepy eye contact with the camera so they know I'm not looking down. Yeah. Right, here we got some full blown creepy eye contact there. Right. Oh no!
Drum roll. If it's Tony,
no. Do another draw. I'm not having it.
You don't want it. You don't want my gift to you.
I don't want your gift to me. That's not right.
Right, you heard that, everyone. He's ungrateful. Right. All creepy eye contact up there. It's lovely. Right. Dead Gecko.
I've changed my mind. Give it to me. Sorry, Dead Gecko. I'm having it.
Right. That's it. You're done. Dead Gecko. I don't even know what's. I don't even know what's coming out next month, so I'll have to think about it. But if you're new or you're just a subscriber and you fancy coming involved, like join the Discord, become a member. We do it every month. Yeah, and that's that. Thank you.
Nice one, mate.
Thank you, Darge. Congratulations, Dead Gecko. I'm not sure I've seen your name in chat at the moment, so you may not be here right now, but enjoy, and we'll talk to you in the Discord and make sure you get hold of that. We've got a 10-month, this is the first 10-month member milestone chat from Tony that says, great job, guys. Asa, Cloud's hair or Tifa boobs? I don't fully understand the question, Tony. Is this for me? Which one would I rather have?
Did you say boots or boobs?
He said boobs. He said boobs.
Ah, okay.
And I'm not sure if that's because the super chat may remove the question otherwise.
Okay.
So yeah, it's difficult without context. If I had to have one or the other, I think Tifa's boobs would be a little bit awkward to carry around and fight with, so I'll probably take the hair and crush it down. But if it's not on me, then it's an entirely different proposition. So, Tony, I'm afraid your question lacks context. It makes it very difficult to answer.
Brings an overlay. Your question lacks context. It's just shame.
I'm kind of glad that his question lacks context. It gives me a way out of answering it. So we'll keep it as it is, and we'll move on to talking about Sony. We'll start with the figures, right? We'll start with the boring stuff, and then we'll talk about the new CEO. So, just to introduce that, though, Sony have, as part of their quarterly fiscal results, they have announced who's replacing Jim Ryan as CEO. It is a 2-person effort, and Chris knows one of them personally, so we'll get into that a little bit later on, talk about how Herman Hulst is in person. But before we do that, we'll talk about some of the boring stuff, the results of Sony's fiscal update. So the broad overview, like headline wise, it's actually been a record breaking year for them. They've overtaken Tencent as the biggest gaming company in the entire universe and done very, very well in that regard. But the headline stat that people are more likely to take away from it is that the year-on-year Q4 result for consoles sold is a drop. They've dropped 29% in the amount of consoles that they are selling, which is kind of in line with what Nintendo and Xbox have done in terms of console hardware struggling at the moment. You do need the little bit of added context on that one, in that the prior year saw a 250% increase in console sales. So if you were to look at it on a bigger chart, it's down there, it's way up there, and then it's dropped down again in line with what the industry is doing.
Exactly.
But they've fallen slightly short of their expectations, and they are expecting and anticipating that they are going to continue to kind of drop off on console sales going forwards. That despite everybody knowing that the PlayStation 5 Pro is coming. So there's some stuff to talk about in there. Chris, what did you pick from Sony's fiscal update?
So obviously, the appointments, which is interesting, and the kind of console sales, and obviously we've been talking about them going PC day and date and things like that, which they haven't confirmed, but we think that's going to happen. I think obviously the press have kind of done the whole, they narrowly missed targets, but they narrowly missed the revised
target
number.
Yeah.
So they've sold 20.8 million PS5s. They revised it down to 21 million. But prior to that, obviously the company had forecast 25 million units. So they're obviously over 5 million short, which is nothing to be sniffed at. It's not narrowly missing. But they're still, as you said, they've still become kind of the global leaders in gaming and things like that. I think the interesting bit is they obviously expect kind of weaker sales end of March 25, so they're expecting 18 million units. And obviously with the rumoured PS5 Pro, obviously they haven't officially come out, but there's enough to say it is coming. I would presume that the 18 million units include the PS5 Pro. I don't think they will not include that in the sales. So I think they're expecting PS5 to drop off. I think they're expecting PS5 Pro to be picked up by a certain number of individuals. We don't know how much it is and things like that. But obviously the big thing is Herman is, I think he's CEO of the CEO of Platform Business Group and Studio Business Group. So you've obviously got Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst have replaced Jim in a two-pronged attack. And obviously the interim CEO, Totoki, has become the chairman of the business. So he's, I guess, still going to have some say over, because he was he was an individual who was praising kind of multi-platform releases and getting games and products elsewhere. Obviously Herman, I know well from my time at Gorilla. He ultimately greenlit the transfer from me going from Liverpool to there. So met him. He kind of hired me for the studio, and he was really kind of hands-on with the product. So the one takeaway that I had is, he absolutely loves and believes in his studio, Guerrilla Games. Obviously, he was one of the founders. They've been lucky enough to go through that journey and then be acquired by Sony, and obviously have to kind of from the back end. They had really good kind of like technology group there, which is obviously what we've got with the the engine and stuff that everyone's utilising. And yeah, he was he was a dev back in the days when they released kind of Nam and stuff like that. But he is hands-on. He's hands-on with the team, hands-on with the product. He looks for that like quality. On the flip side, I don't think he's going to be as hands-on as people would like him to now. Kind of him and other people kind of who were running the studio and stuff took a step back and started looking after certain business elements. And obviously Herman can't be traveling all over the world and still be as hands-on. He could obviously go in and see what the quality of product is like, but I don't think he's going to be going, you just tweak that and tweak this and so on and so forth. But he's a good guy, looked after the staff. Obviously, we're going back, 15 years ago it was or whatever, so he could have changed and become an arsehole. That's not what I've heard. So I think, and Darge will back this up or whatever, for the last 4 or 5 years I've been flying the flag for him taking over Jim and stuff. I think he's just a far better person to kind of handle that job. And I think, and hopefully things have changed. So he really kind of liked the kind of exclusivity in play and things like that, but I don't think he's going to take the business back that way. And I think you'd have to be a bit of an idiot to kind of try and exclude platforms and things like that. But yeah, I'm really pleased and interested to see what he does within the business and as they move forward. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about the other guy. Don't know if you know much about him.
Except that he has. No, I don't. And I should have researched it really. He's definitely been at Sony for a long time as well. So he's worked his way up within the company as well, but bouncing around to different kind of roles. I don't know if he's as hands-on gamey, but that's the thing that Herman Hulst does that's kind of a relief, that he is that kind of personality and persona. He's everyone knows of him as running a development studio and having a passion for games, which is the thing that when you talk about like Xbox and Phil Spencer and whether he stays or goes or whatever, he's like a representative of people that like to actually play real games to try and keep the business on track and deliver things that we want at Xbox. And now PlayStation, they never really had this with Jim Ryan. He might have been saying all of the right things in the background, but public perception was that he's a spreadsheets guy and he doesn't care about games in the slightest. Herman Hulst has that going for him. So again, we never really know what people are saying behind closed doors in these board meetings, what angles they're pushing and where they're trying to go to get the money that their shareholders are insisting upon. But you can have reasonable confidence he at least knows what he's talking about with regards to what games are and what we as consumers like to play. So it's positive in that sense. Darge,
I think the interesting. Sorry, could I just add? I think the interesting take for the first time in a lot of years is that there's kind of two Japanese guys in high ranking positions now. And I think Sony have gone back to the kind of roots and gone with a Japanese company. We need to kind of like take charge of this again. I don't mean that in a kind of people from the West can't run it and stuff like that, but I think they've intrinsically gone back to that because you've gone back from the Michael Denny days, the Jim Ryan days. You go back to Sean Layden. You go back to all of these kind of last kind of decades where Western individuals have kind of run, and I think they've now gone, actually, we want to get a hold of this, we want to look. And I think, obviously, Herman's is kind of the head of studio business or whatever, and Totoki's head of platform business, I think it is. So I think you've got that kind of balance, as you say, where Herman's used to running studios, knows what it takes. Joe is hopefully more connected to kind of like the development teams and building those studios. And then it'd be really interesting to see what he does with kind of platform business. Does that encompass and moving into different areas? Does that grab the PC side of things? Does that potentially look at rekindling a bit of VR support on PC, or is it handhelds?
Do you foresee any problems with that, with the two of them? When they, for like example, you've got Herman's running the studios, and you said they potentially favoured the exclusivity and that kind of approach. You've got this other guy who's in charge of platforms, and potentially they might butt heads on like where a given game is supposed to go. Horizon 3 is coming out, and Herman's saying he wants to develop for PlayStation 5 first and develop to PC later, and the other guy's saying, "Oh, we want day and date." Like, what happens in that scenario? Do they just report to their boss, like he's in charge overall, or do they have a little fisticuffs?
I think it'd be different. And obviously, I was talking about kind of like a historical Herman, so I think Joey has come out and presented kind of Nixies and PC versions of games and stuff. He's done stuff on that side of thing. I think what will happen is it'll just be kind of Herman, you crack on with the quality of the studio, the quality of the individuals,
software,
stick to kind of delivery timescales and things like that. And I think Totoki will go, these are the platforms that we're delivering for, so Decima needs to work across those platforms. If we're using the Decima engine, we need to start, as we touched upon a couple of episodes, we need to start working closer with Nixies and not just go, here's a code base, can you convert that to PC? And this is where it might be kind of interesting to see, will they get some of those kind of like Microsoft or Xbox shortfalls where they're having to kind of target multiple platforms at once and spread that kind of dev work or the technology group a bit thin. Introduction of the Pro. So I think, I would hope that the combination works well. And obviously, you've got the main overarching guy saying this is what the business needs to do. You'll then have the other guy supporting kind of the platforms and keeping an eye on like technology and technology advances. And then hopefully, as I say, just Herman concentrating on actually support the devs, make sure they've got what they want, make sure the teams are the correct sizes, don't overinflate studios. I think there'll be a bit of that, a bit of a hiring cull and stuff. Because if we only take, I can't think, Firespite as an example. That got to like 230, 240 people across the globe. I mean, that's a massive studio.
And the other chap, Hideaki Nishino, is responsible for third party as well. So he's going to spend his first few weeks like on the phone to Square Enix, going, "No, come on."
Yeah.
You see, like it says like he's also responsible for the expansion of the network and everything like that as well. So he's going to be like, it feels like Okie Koki's still running the show at the top. He's top dog, and then he's got Herman. Okie Koki is still the big cheese, and you got Herman, who's going to be in charge of visiting all the teams, checking on the software, checking on everything, making sure everything's decent in that regard. And then you have a fella, what was his name? Asa? Nishino?
Totoki.
Yeah.
No, Totoki. Nishino's the top fella, Totoki.
Right, Totoki. He's going to be the one who's going to sort of deal with the platform expansion, stuff like that as well. Like you say, with regards to third party and stuff like that as well. But also, Like it's like PlayStation now trying to broaden their horizons, like you know what I mean, and they're restructuring their business. I know Oaky's only there till I think when's he there till? I think did he say he was only going to do 6 months or something?
No, I think he's taken this new role.
Oh, he's
now,
been reappointed now, hasn't he? He's been,
he was interim CEO, so now he's basically he was interim CEO. He's now chairman of the business.
It just feels like you got Big Cheese, and then you got two guys underneath him. One responsible for software on the first party side of things, and the other one who's responsible for making third party partnerships and also expanding the horizons of PlayStation, where they reach, where they go, what they do. You know what I mean? But at least they're having a restructure. You know what I mean? Like, and because Jim was obviously dealing with it all sort of himself to a degree, wasn't he? You know what I mean? And he made a fucking right pig's ear of that. So, yeah, see what happens because PlayStation need to expand. You know, obviously I know you spoke about figures and all that a little while ago, but then obviously that's what I'm saying. People don't take into account when a company announces losses or not hitting projections, they're basing projections off of a pandemic and huge spikes in fucking engagement and console sales. And, you know, that golden era's gone now. You know what I mean? We're coming back down to earth, so to speak. So,
that's the issue.
Yeah, they're just going to broaden their horizons. It's an ever-changing landscape at the minute for all parties. So, this is all part of it, and hopefully, like I say, hopefully it works out for them. Hopefully it works out for Xbox and Microsoft because we all benefit from it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But that's my business talk.
Hiroki Totoki, the interim guy that's now in charge of many parts of Sony. I hope he is rather hands off. Like, he's not a gaming person, and he's obviously been responsible for a lot of the cuts and things that have happened, potentially talking to Jim Ryan before he left and all the rest of it. But besides sitting there from afar and saying we need to make this much more money or this is your target, hopefully the other two are actually running business. I mean, they've got to earn their salary, so they should be running business. And yeah, I mean, from the outside, hopefully it's an encouraging pairing, right? But
yeah, well, that's why, like you say, he's not a gaming person. He's not a video gamer. Yeah, but he's got Herman. Do you know what I mean? And he's appointing, which, you know, might all blow up in their face for all we fucking know. But like I say, Chris, obviously, he knows people and stuff like that. It's a good matching on the strength of how we take it from the outside, like looking, you know what I mean? So he ain't a gamer. He ain't doing a Jim Ryan and like getting a controller and fucking holding it like doing one of those. You know what I mean? Like he's appointing the right people. So he's the guy. We need this. Tell them
to. A controller with like tweezers and tongs, like
just like fucking holding it. I can't even remember. He was like that. Like, I'm having so much fun. Yeah, but yeah. So like I say, you know, he's the top dog. You know, so to speak. Like you said, he's in charge of a lot of gear, and the higher ups of him are going to go, right, fella, this is what we want. And he goes, okay, Herman, other mush. This is what we're going to do, and that's it. And you know, see what happens.
I think the issue is sometimes with these, or with any business, but certainly with a big global conglomerate or whatever it is, sometimes like the board will need basically someone with balls and like an arsehole who will go in and not necessarily be attached. You know, I can see Jim being attached to like a lot of individuals in studios and stuff like that, not being able to make those hard calls. Yeah. And at some point, the board have gone, this ain't working. They've appointed, obviously, your man there who's gone in and gone, actually, I'm not attached to anyone. And, you know, there was a thread in the Discord that I put up. You know, I was kind of privy and a part of this, where Japan would make like headcount calls, and it'd just be, whoever's not producing anything, that's going to get sold in the next 12 months or whatever's gone. And organizations do need that because you get, I'm not saying like Sony's like a small business with a founder business, but in a similar capacity to myself. When you start a business, you're ultimately a founder. And a founder by definition is all about like protecting the workforce, the business, the product, you name it, at kind of any cost. And at some point, you have to transition to a CEO. It doesn't mean that you don't care about your team, but you have to start to think about like the business growth, you know, what cuts you might have to do. And when I mean cuts, not just necessarily staff cuts, because I haven't cut any staff, but you talk about like product cuts or innovation and things like that. And you go from this kind of really exciting kind of innovation period to actually we need a bit of stability. We need to have business cases for things. We need to look at the costs, because that cost or that those earnings and profits then go reinvested back into the business. So at times you need someone who's not kind of connected to it to just come in. And that's when those interim positions really work, because they come in clean slate, they have no kind of connection to anyone, and they can make those hard decisions. Unfortunately, as shit as they are, someone has to make a hard decision at some point and go, they're not actually making any money. It's costing us 40 million quid a year to run that studio and pay salaries or whatever. Yet there's going to be some great individuals that we can try and move around the business. And the one thing, to be fair to Sony over the years, is they always kind of spoke to other development studios and publishers. So when they were doing layoffs, they would basically spread people's CVs and stuff out into the industry to try and get them kind of relocated into other areas. And it wasn't necessarily for everyone, and it wasn't always a great job, because other publishers and stuff would just basically look at the market and go, you know, these 20 people have gone, we'll target them and stuff. But yeah, you just need someone with big plums to just come in sometimes and just go, this is what it is. And that might have been, I mean, I'm not his biggest fan, but that may have been why we saw Jim having pictures with London, because he actually, you know, at that point wasn't aware. It might have been a bit up in the air, you know, we may need to make cuts, so on and so forth. And then he's just gone, there you are. Unfortunately, the axe has fallen on Studio London.
I don't disagree with any of that. And you touched on like how they treat the people that are getting those severance packages and being let go, and that is such an important detail into how hard it hits when people do go. I don't know if Sony are good or bad in that regard. I don't know if Microsoft are good or bad in that regard. When you see their statements go out and they talk about like you're going to get whatever's mandated in the region that you're in, that's sad. For me, I've been made redundant from other places and I had a very nice time of it. It suited me very well. So it isn't always terrible, and I'm not trying to mitigate it. Yeah. So you had a good severance from Sony when you were let go.
Yeah, so they were fair. So basically, they took it was a bit of a weird one. So Sony appointed a law firm. Everyone. Mm-hmm. So this was when Studio Liverpool was like closed down for the last time. Boosh, 60 odd, 70 odd people gone. They appointed a law firm in Liverpool. Everyone had like individual conversations. They basically created like a severance package for each individual. Which was beyond standard or statutory. And the weird kicker is the lawyer that they appointed actually explained that Sony had broken employment law in doing what they'd done, because there wasn't enough kind of notice and things like that. But to counter the fact that they'd broken employment law, they'd created this really favourable severance package. Now, there was two options that you were given by the lawyer. You could basically take Sony to court on the kind of you've broke the law point, which could potentially result in an unlimited fine. But obviously, if you kind of lost, if the court had kind of turned around and gone, yeah, they've acknowledged this and created this really attractive severance package, so you're just being greedy or whatever. Who knows, what judge you have on the day, then you would drop back to kind of the statutory level, which was obviously far less than what they were offering. So the law firm would say, like, it's your decision, but we would recommend taking the improved severance package. And I think everyone got looked after really well.
Makes a massive difference, that. It really does. So hopefully, like, obviously that might be an exceptional use case where they were needing to because of the circumstances you just described. But yeah, that's probably enough about Sony for now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's enough for this week.
Except for one particular game that dropped into PlayStation Plus today or yesterday, which is getting a little bit of attention around the place. It's sitting at 91 on Metacritic at the moment. It is something like a 40 megabyte download if you get it on Steam, and that is Animal Well, which I forgot to mention at the start of the show. Have either of you heard of Animal Well?
No.
Some people love it. Has anybody heard of what's his face? Donkey, video game Donkey.
Donkey?
I've
heard of a donkey, but I ain't going to tell you
what. Good God.
Sorry, yeah, I think I have seen. I've seen some stuff on this animal well, but
so
I haven't paid a lot.
I played it today as one of my things, so that I will be able to talk about it because it's just come out. It's rated really highly. Early reviews have been very, very positive. It's from Video Game Donkey, who was a YouTuber who liked to criticize AAA games a whole lot, and then set up his own game publisher. This is the first game that Big Mode Games have published. But it's been made by an individual, like a single developer. It wasn't made by Video Game Donkey himself. It was made by somebody else. And they have published it.
Billy Basso. Billy Basso made it.
There you go. Billy Basso made it. And I don't like it at all. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Like, it's but Gamsey might like it.
£19 on Steam.
And Luke might like it. Is it £19? It's included. It was a day one PlayStation Plus thing. So why they decided to work? Yeah, why they decided to work with this particular publisher for their first ever game, I don't know. But they saw something in it. I just played a little trailer of it. If you saw it, and it is like it has a look to it. It's very pretty, and it has a nice when you move your little blob guy around, all of the like grass and hanging things, they all kind of react to it in a way that's very nice. But I found it does look good, but I found it kind of obtuse, I'll be honest. I'm not like a Metroidvania fan. It's not so much a Metroidvania, but it does have that kind of map system and it sends you exploring all over the place. Gamsley put me onto Celeste the other day, which I actually was really impressed with. It's not so much my style of game, but I could recognize the quality of it. This one, I can recognize the quality of the visuals, but I just found a lot of the mechanics and like, oh, you have to hit a button that's hidden in an invisible wall to progress through this section is quite obtuse. And I got a fair way through it in the hour or so that I played. I didn't hit any complete walls, but I know that at some point I'm going to get to a room where I just can't actually see the path I'm supposed to take and fall off and give up on it. So that's Animal Well. It's free on PlayStation, so you might as well give it a try and go for yourself. But I just forgot to mention it earlier, so I thought I'd throw it up there and talk about it, because it is interesting that a YouTuber has set up a publisher, released a game that has... It's also interesting because, you know, I'm trying to like kind of redefine the way that reviews are handled anyway, but it's absurd that a game like that is scoring higher than like AAA motion captured cinematic games without any context behind the scores or whatever. So I find it quite interesting as a like, you know, case study.
Because like some of the publications are like, oh, support the little guy type.
Exactly that.
Thing.
And using the same ruler to judge them on. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. But it is like, it does have some quality to it. It does have, the sound is nice. Like it's got some nice, it's almost tactile in the way that everything moves and reacts to the little blob that you're moving around. So I don't hate it. I just found it a bit obtuse. So
it's another conversation with people and me adding another game to my wish list. So at least it weren't Satama this time getting me with FOMO. So I'll give it a look before next week's show and I'll let you know. Because I did like the look of it in that trailer. So yeah, I'll have a look.
There you go.
It's 91 on PC, 87 on PS5, 89 on Switch. And the users are 8.1 with 13% negative. You're one of them, Asa.
I wouldn't go on and give it a negative rating.
The rest of them Xbox. For the rest of them all Xbox fans that were bitter.
Yeah, I don't think the game's had enough.
I read one review who said
they were Warriors, but
yeah. I read one review that said they were a big fan of Donkey when it was on YouTube, but it's a puzzle game hidden as a Metroidvania. And given 0. Okay.
Yeah.
Angry.
Some of it was quite neat.
People out there.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one. Try it. If you've got a PlayStation, then you might as well go and try it because it is on PlayStation Plus to go and try. So why listen to a review if you've got access to it? But anyway, let's do our community questions, I think. Get to some of those. They normally spark a little conversation and then we'll probably run out of time. So, straight up, Isla is there. Purple Tree Frog has asked, Asa, have you tried the Like a Dragon games? Yeah, I've done the opening couple of chapters of Like a Dragon. I've not gotten to Infinite Wealth. I also did a short amount of Yakuza 0. So, short answer, Purple Tree Frog, no, I haven't got far enough into those. I really want to. Like, those games do appeal to me an awful lot. I love Shenmue back on the Dreamcast once upon a time. But it also became very, very apparent that I need a long time just to watch the cutscenes, just to get through the conversations in those games, to even get into the many myriad, like the mini games, just to get into the million-hour completion time for it. So they're on the list, but not yet. Have either of you two played those? Yakuza anythings?
I haven't. No, just
No.
to be Cognito. He's a Yakuza fan, and quite a few others are, like ACG as well. I think he's a fan of them games as well. But yeah, just never got around to playing them. But I probably will eventually. I mean, like obviously, Like a Dragon was the one. Was it the one Series X? Was that the one that went down date in Game Pass? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look good. They look good, but then obviously, like we spoke about earlier with Rebirth, you know, you hear about some of the mad stuff that goes on to like some of the fun side questy things. But I'll probably end up giving one of them a go one day, you know. But I haven't actually
Can't have been
played
day and date
anything.
because I bought it. So I'm probably wrong on that. I don't think that one can have been day and date, but it came out ahead of the PlayStation release in the West.
It was exclusive then. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Chris, any Yakuza games for you?
No, I mean, I looked at some of them, the little bit of a GTA vibe, and no, I need to try them. Quite a few people have recommended them.
It's difficult because the people that recommend them love the whole series, but the whole series is like 8 games long, maybe 9 games long now. I don't know. So it's a big commitment to try and get through them.
Yeah, I haven't got that commitment.
Easier question: skill and panache. I know it's a gaming podcast.
This is a brilliant question.
But what I really want to know is what's everyone's favourite toast to eat. I'm partial to tuna, cheese, and onion, and now I'm hungry.
Jesus
Chris.
Christ.
For me, brie, bacon, and cranberry.
You do not make yourself brie, bacon, and cranberry toasters. Your £4,000 PC in your palace. Come on now.
That is it. If it's on the menu, brie, bacon, and
4 baked beans.
I mean, to be fair though, if it's like the world's smallest violins and stuff, I can't really have toasties anymore because I'm not allowed cheese. So, nice one, skill and panache for ruining me even no one else. But if I can, or if I do, it'll be that. I mean, bacon can be cheap. Brie's quite cheap. I mean,
I love a drop of brie, mate. On the old cheese bowl.
Bit of brie. Exactly, there you go.
Get it.
So, a couple of slices, Darge, get it in some bread, toast it, bit of bacon, bit of cranberry. Oh, you'll be in heaven.
Back in the cranberry, mate. I don't know. It's always cheese, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like cheese and ham, where the ham sort of comes out the 2 slices and slaps you on the chin. It just gives you 3rd-degree burns on your fucking chin, like where it's so hot.
Yeah, especially from Boston or somewhere like that. Just slides out.
Yeah, just like a big tongue slaps you. But we did a job. We did a job before one Christmas, and we bought one of them in because it was fucking cold. And like the boys on site were just putting loads of random stuff in it. And one of them put, like corned beef. Yeah, one of them put corned beef in, slices of that with a bit of cheese on the top. And all the corned beef broke down in there. When you bit into it, it was like a pasty or something. It was fucking well nice. But yeah, for me, a nice strong cheddar with a bit of red onion in there. Bosh.
Thanks, Craig. I'm well hungry now. I'd probably just go nice and simple ham and cheese on this one.
I am as well.
Yeah. Gamzy, what is it today? Wine, coffee, or tea? I had coffee, but it's long gone now. I had coffee and ginger beer, so simple stuff. Do you do tea or coffee during these podcasts?
I had flavoured water at the start, and then I had tea in the smallest mug. And just to give, in my Mario mug, just to give people an idea of how small this mug is, there's my magic mouse. It's like the smallest mug ever.
Dinky one.
You're holding it like Jim Ryan holds a controller. Like,
can't even get all 4 fingers in, look. Got a little 2-finger.
Beautiful mug.
Perfect.
That'll get
All right.
That'll get clipped.
What, 2 fingers instead of 4?
Can't get me 4 fingers in, just 2 fingers.
So just James,
yeah.
93. Oh god, first one is for the Scouser. Are you a blue or a red? Also, what other football teams do you support?
He's West Ham.
So I knew just James would get this, and we were having a bit of a Scouts conversation in Discord. I'm a Liverpool fan, but weirdly work with both Liverpool and Everton and numerous other football clubs. So I've kind of mellowed when it comes to like football rivalry now, because I end up watching a loads of clubs and stuff that we work closely with. So do enjoy football. It is my day job. So it's nice to have a little bit of escapism into the gaming world and stuff. But yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan, mate. So interested to know who you support.
Let us know in the chat, James.
You all can, eh? Shout out your football teams if you
Yeah,
enjoy your
all shout you can't go wrong saying West Ham in my book. So
You
just go West
wrong,
Ham. Yeah. Well, no, you got nothing to be happy.
I mean, you're a Dagenham fan, or you're a West Ham fan. You flip flop a bit, don't you, Darge?
I'm fucking well. I'm West Ham.
You were just about to say Dagenham.
FA Cup, Dagenham play West Ham. Who are you then?
I'll just be celebrating because I wouldn't lose on the day.
Go for David.
Right.
Go for David.
David.
Right.
David the Goliath.
Sorry, go on.
Ant Gifford, peanut butter or Marmite?
Tony put some photos in the Discord last night at one of his supermarkets, and the British stuff, and there was Marmite there, and I went, "Oh, get a jar of that." I went, "But you got to really thinly put it on the toast, and then people were saying I'm a wrong un, such a thing, Marmite, isn't it, where you genuinely love it or hate it, But
No, I'm like, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, but then if you sell people, you think it's all right, people will look at you like you're disgusting and beneath them. So people get caught up in their feelings. I don't know. Peanut butter or Marmite, to be fair, that's a good question for me, because sometimes I just fancy peanut butter, sometimes I fancy Marmite. So I can't choose between them. Sorry, mate.
So Darge puts Marmite with his peanut butter. That's wrong. But Chris, Marmite, peanut butter, any?
Peanut butter, 100%. But obviously, at the risk of me sounding like I just want everyone to feel sorry for themselves, I can't have peanuts either.
Yeah.
So
this is just
everything I can't have.
Our hearts and souls every time Chris says that he can't have them. Let's do the next one, please.
I love peanut butter. So.
Pete, for all the presenters, is your current phone Apple or Android, and will your next phone remain the same OS?
Apple.
I've been Apple since the OG iPhone, and it'll just remain Apple because I've got AirPods, I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got the whole ecosystem going on with. I'm on an iMac now, I've got a MacBook Pro. It all syncs beautifully together.
You know what's funny though with the phones? I'm not 100% sure, but they do like data transfer now, don't they? And you can transfer purchasing as well, I believe. Or there was a time where it might have been where Google Play Music, when like they shut that down, and maybe you could have transferred purchases and stuff like that. Be nice if the video game industry did something like that, wouldn't it? But I don't think they would.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm Apple. I've said before, I went Apple in the just before the pandemic started, because we thought we was never going to see anyone again and end up eating toilet roll for the rest of our lives. And so I decided to get an iPhone so that I could video call, my nan and people like that on FaceTime and stuff. And then once I got into that ecosystem, same thing with gaming, really. Like once you end up going into an ecosystem, you can jump out. I've done the Android thing. You know what I mean? I had the Galaxies. I was cracking them. I was putting, I don't want to say illegal, but I was getting music from places and preloading my own stuff long before the days of Spotify and putting films on it. And it was great for that sort of stuff. But I'm just Apple iPhone now. You
You've been on the old Encrochat network as well, haven't
know. Yeah.
Well, I'm Android at the moment, and my next phone, I haven't decided. Like, I don't like Apple, but I'm not a massive fan of Google either. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Maybe
Google
Nokia
have become a bit of a pain in the arse on the dev front. So, like when you make apps for Apple and Android, so obviously Google used to just be like a free for all. So you'd make your app, submit your app, and it'd just get approved instantly. And Apple obviously used to be a little bit more like we'll put it through a process, we'll sign it off and things like that. It's completely flipped on its head. And we'll be doing like apps like on behalf of like football clubs and stuff like that, and it'll be on the football club accounts and stuff like that. It go live on Apple, and then nothing could be happening on Google. And then days later, you get like a copyright strike, and it'd just be like, "You're not Liverpool FC," and you're like, "It's clearly the Liverpool FC account." It's like we are and stuff, and you just can't speak to someone. They just have none of it. You have to do all this kind of like jumping over hoops and stuff. So I used to love like the speed of like submitting to Google, but it's just flipped on its head where they just kind of like don't believe anything you do until you have to like jump through hoops to prove it. So yeah, who knows? Maybe Windows Phone will come back. It won't.
Don't give people hope.
I've got one right here.
I used to like the Windows Phone.
One of them. Yeah, I've got an orange one somewhere as well. I had 2 Windows phones. This one I mostly use to protect if I leave a drink overnight. I just pop a phone on it so the flies don't get in. That's about all it's good for, but that makes it my favourite phone.
Amazing.
As God wanted.
Exactly, that's why they make them so big. Let's do another question. 5 to 10, we'll do 1 or 2 more. Oh, we got one. It's from Tom. Do any of you care much about achievements or trophies, and do you think they've had a negative effect on game design? Well. I used to, and then I learned not to. I kind of appreciate them, like the whole metagame connecting and giving people something to strive for. I do appreciate it in part, but when you try and play across multiple platforms and you realize you're never actually going to have a good amount, and then you realize that the way that you're now playing games is to get through the good bit and then do the shite on the side as well. Like, this isn't actually content that I want to consume, and I'm doing it for the sake of a silly score. So I don't know, sometime shortly after the introduction of trophies, I think, that's when it became a multi-platform thing. And shortly after that, I was like, hang on, I don't want to do this at all. And I completely disregarded them ever since. My gamer score, my trophy count, my Steam level, my Blizzard account, my Ubisoft account, my EA account, they've all got achievements, and I don't care about any of them or know what scores I've got on any of them anymore.
Yeah.
What about you two?
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, I did care about them so much so that like I had the PC sitting here and I was playing like third-party games that weren't. So if it was a Game Pass game, I'd play it on my PC because I could get those achievement points still. But then Dead Space was like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because I played that on the Xbox and it was incredible looking, and I just thought, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, I got the PC there; it would have been a better experience. It was great on the Xbox. Don't get me wrong; I'm not downplaying the Xbox version of that game because it's great. But I thought it'd have been so much better on the PC. And then that's when I thought, shit, I'm only doing this for the achievements to build my score. But I've got that little addictive tendency about me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm driving to get that number up. But ultimately, in the end, once I thought about it, I was like, nah. And then I got rid of the console, and now it's all just PC based now. But I don't think they're bad. You know what I mean? Like, I think having those things, you know, like when you say about side questy, 100% the game. There might be people that go, yeah, okay, like, I'm up for that, and I'll do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we've got Flash Jackson in our chat, and he's in our Discord as well. And he was going for the 100% on Fallen Order, and then into Jedi Survivor. And that's something he's challenged himself to do. And he'll be rewarded for it. And like you say, at the end of the day, if you think I ain't got fucking time for all that, you ain't got to do it. Do you know what I mean? You just move on. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they're a bad thing. And I don't think they've had a negative effect on game design personally. You know what I mean? Because it's all optional gear. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Are you, Chris? Achievement hunting?
Same as you, really. Asa. I mean, I used to enjoy achievements and stuff, and then as soon as I moved my main gaming over to PC and stuff, I kind of just see stuff pop up on Steam and just go. Whereas, like, when I used to game on Xbox, I'd kind of go and look. And don't get me wrong, I've 100%ed games and stuff, and I think some of the meta games good, but I agree with you. Like, sometimes there'd be part of that like achievement meta game, which is just like a really obscure thing to get hold of. I think when it's done right with kind of, you know what, like 12 or 13 achievements or something, you know, where it kind of steadies you through the game, and it might be like find these kind of like hidden things in like an adventure game or something. I quite like going back for that stuff, but I think when you've got like really kind of obscure achievements, or you've just got something which is nonsense, where it's like get, you know, 400,000 like headshots or something, and you're just like, I'm not going to do that. Just I can just do
it's
one.
weird. Like,
it's almost,
I remember 100% in GoldenEye on the N64, and there were no achievement points back then. Like, it was for the sake of doing it because that game warranted doing it. So I'm not like against extracting value from a game, particularly like the way things used to be where you didn't have quite so much available to play. But these days, it's not just the achievement design, it's the fact that there is so much. You've got like 1,000 games at your fingertip at any given minute. So I don't want to go and hit every freaking crate in the world to get 10 achievement points when I could be doing like a really riveting story in another game or something like that. So
yeah, to be fair as well, just quickly on that, it's not like all games, quite a lot of the games are like that, but Shadow Warrior 3, for example, I played through that campaign once and I think I got 960 out of 1,000 like gamer score, because it's just playing the game. They're rewarding you for playing the game. There's a couple of odd side questy bits and obviously one or two that I missed towards the end. But I do get what you're saying. There's other games where it'll make you fucking graft for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think they're all right though.
And there's other games, I can't remember who was saying it. There was one recently where you just had to launch it and you got 50 points for launching the game. What's the point? What's the point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the problem. It's like at one point I started buying those like, you know, fucking £3 like mad like shooter experiences and stuff just to get the gamer score up a bit. And I was just like, actually, this is just a load of pointless nonsense or whatever. And actually, you know, obviously, as you know, I got Manor Lords on Steam, and I haven't touched like the Game Pass version, even though I could probably get like achievements on that. I've got like a couple of Steam achievements or one, or make it through winter or something. But yeah, it used to, like you, it used to kind of drive my gaming a bit, but I'm less bothered by it. I don't think it ruins anything. I think it's there for someone who wants it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more question if there are any, and then we'll wrap up for today. That'll be our 2-hour mark. So. Bosh indeed. Yeah.
Bosh.
Right,
FGW.
Oh no, it's Gamsley. He says, on the Brotato review scale, where will Hellblade 2 land? Which is the easiest question that I've ever come across ever, because stuff happens. I've seen enough happening in Hellblade 2 already just from the trailer. The trailer for Hellblade 2 is a better game than Brotato.
At photo mode,
photo mode is better than Brotato. Yeah,
photo mode on its own will be better. I'll get more enjoyment out of Hellblade 2's photo mode than I will out of Brotato. Brotato's great, like, don't get me wrong, but at photo mode, I'll tell you, after Callisto,
amazing,
did you see where they was moving the light bulb around in the shot? It's fucking. I'll probably spend more time.
I've tweeted it in case anyone's missed it. Yeah, if anyone's missed it, I've tweeted it.
It's great, man. On the scale, I mean, what is the Brotato review scale? Is that like?
Is it better or worse than Brotato? Is the whole scale that Games is using there?
I mean, it's weird.
That's like the.
That's what it's like. Yeah. Hellblade. I'm really looking forward to Hellblade. I think I'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So I think it'll definitely be better than Brotato for me.
God bless Game Pass. God bless Game Pass.
Even if Hellblade is so effective that it leaves me as like a traumatized wreck, just rocking on the floor, still better than Brotato.
You get, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I think that's actually all of the questions done anyway. So we've wrapped through those. Hellblade 2 does come out next week, so obviously we'll talk about it some once it is out. I think it'll be before our show, so maybe we'll have played it a bit by then. Something to look forward to.
I'll
For now, though,
play it so we can talk about it.
It's not not next year. It's not coming out this week.
21st, isn't it? I can't remember. I might be wrong.
Next week.
So it does. I'll book that off work now and play the game before we go live.
You will have finished the whole thing if you do that. But
probably, I'm a proper gamer, aren't I? But yeah, we'll see.
So there you go. That's going to happen next week. For now, though, yeah, thank you everyone that's come through, watched, supported, spoken to us or not, or watched it after the fact. It doesn't really, all of you are doing great things for us. Thank you for that. Chris, please tell everyone what you're up to, where they can find you.
In the Discord,
yes,
and on Twitter, DJ Grannell on Twitter, Hard Times UK on Steam, Xbox, PSN. I think just my normal name, or no, is it Hard Times on VR or my normal name? Can't remember.
We're
friends on VR, aren't we?
Yeah, good friends.
So I'll be trying trying to get some Mana Lords on the go. Also Ghosts of Tsushima, and actually I'm like that, hovering over getting Homeworld 3 as well. I used to love Homeworld, so need to play that. So I might have some interesting games to talk about next week.
Awesome. Awesome, loads of games. There's so much to play at the moment. Darge, same for you. Tell people what you're up to, where they can find you. Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Darge Knight. You'll find me in the Discord. I big up the Discord every week. Really is a nice community in there. We could do with a couple more PlayStation guys in there. It's becoming a little bit of a Xbox echo chamber at times. But
controversial.
Yeah. I'll be in there. I'll be on Discord, and I'll be playing games. I'm going to try and get Callisto done in the next day or so. And sorry, I just see Tony's message. Yeah, you can. I'll be doing Callisto, beating Callisto. I've got in touch with Dead Gecko. He's blown away that he's won that as it goes, because he's at work right now. Ghost of Tsushima, get round to that. I'm going to threaten to do Final Fantasy VII Remake again, but whether I get to it or not, and then obviously the one I've been waiting for, Hellblade. So yeah, it's going to be busy. But what about you, Asa?
I'm receiving many threats that I need to plug my video, so I'm not going to do that because I appreciate the threats and the violence. Yeah, I'm going to try and do some more VR this week. It had been a little while since I stuck the headset on my face and I missed it, so I'm going to do some more of that. I'm going to try and get through some Final Fantasy. I also need to pick up my next project because obviously I finished that review, uploaded that yesterday, whenever it was, and I haven't decided what to go on to next. So get in Discord and shout some games out because I'll get on some of those as well. No, Chris, games that are actually out. I can't review Hades 2. It's not been released yet. Get on the Discord. It is a good place. Come and talk to us. We are pretty constant in there with the back and forth on the chat. So it is a good place. And that is it for now. So Chris, strike a pose. See you next time.
Boy.